right, everyone looking this way. Last one, looking this way, everyone. Got it. Yeah. Right here. No. You do whatever you want to do. Check the windows. You're going this way. This way. This way. Goes over the right hand. That's this one. Goes over this. All right, everyone looking in this camera.
I can't see it.
Okay.
Oh no. My eyes hurt.
All right, everybody close your eyes. Okay. I'm going to count to 3 and everybody open and hold it for a second.
Okay. My eyes are working.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, open.
Oh gosh.
See you Friday. Seniors. All right.
It's okay. And carefully too.
Thank you.
Shot.
Phew.
Can we go?
Yep. Tight rope.
What's up, Pink?
Let's have a little brown run.
My name is Quinn Bruch, and I run distance. And last year was a really good season for me. I had 3 PRs in the 800, the mile, and the 2 mile. And our 4x8 team placed 3rd at state, nearly breaking the school record. So it was a very productive season, and I'm very happy with it. But this year, my goal is to come back better and stronger and more confident in races and in practices so that I can be the best version of myself as a track athlete.
My name is Jude Legner. Last year was pretty successful. We were able to do a lot of good things, set 3 school records, placed 3 relays at state. And as I look towards this year, I just kind of want to look for more individual events, hopefully place in maybe the 200 or the 400, and just continue to build off of what we started last year.
I'm Levi Brant. I'm a javelin thrower. Last year at the first meet, I ended up throwing 188, which is only 8 feet off of the state record. So my main goal this year is to obviously break that state record, and I'm really looking forward to watching our relay teams compete and break even more school records there too. We have a great bunch of guys throwing this year, a bunch of new kids, so there's a lot of potential, and I think we'll be able to do pretty well this season.
I'm Murielle Hagen. I'm a junior. Last year I threw shot and disc. This year I'm also throwing shot and disc. Last year I qualified as a sophomore for girls state shot put. This year I have really good expectations. I came up short and tied for 14th at state last year, so I'm hoping I can get top 10 this year. Disc is looking really good. Last year I kind of struggled with it. This year I'm really getting my footwork down and I'm getting my release nice and clean, so I have high hopes for that this year as well.
Chris Koletzky, I coach the sprinters and the relays here at Sturgis. Going into the 2026 season, we're really excited for the kids that we got coming back, especially our boys. A lot of those boys were part of school records last year in our opens and our relays, setting the 4x1 and 4x2 record, and all those kids are back, so that's super exciting. They're motivated. I really think they had a really good off season this winter, lifting, getting into rapid with bench and training, getting on the treadmill and some of the overspeed stuff. So we expect some big things from those guys that have been working hard. And our numbers are up. Girls have been working hard as well. But we really have kind of switched our mindset the last 2 seasons that we really want to train these kids to be better in their primary sport, and track's going to allow them to do that. Instead of just coming out here and conditioning them for 400s, we're really trying to get them to be more explosive, springy, so that helps out in their other events, maybe what's in the fall or in the winter. And so that's really helped our numbers because the kids aren't really being they're not grinding as hard throughout the week. We still have our lactate workouts, but we're really focusing on the speed development and just the overall athleticism as far as linear movement. And we've seen some really big improvements the last 2 years, so we're excited for what this year has to come up and how our kids are going to respond.
Hi, I'm Steve Hilton, the throws coach for Sturgis Brown High School. We're excited for the upcoming season. We've got a lot of optimism, as I guess everybody does at the beginning of the season, but pretty excited for some of our returning throwers. We've got Levi Brant throwing the javelin, and quite honestly, we have some pretty high aspirations for him to get up on the top step at the end of the year when we get to Sioux Falls. Going to try and really excited to see what his potential is. Got a couple of new jav throwers this year. Jens Iverson has come out, and so he's been working really hard. So we're excited to see what Jens has to offer there. Miles Voigt returns, going to throw shot and disc. Really excited to see him take a big step up this year and watch him get into the state track meet and can perform really well over there. Got some other returners as well. We've got Dion Ekafee and Jeremy Johnson-Landall, and really expecting some big things from there. Trenton Graff, really already been throwing really well in practice. On the girls' side, we've got Murielle Hagen. Really excited to see her take the next big step this year. Shot and disc. She's gonna, I think we've got her tucked in to try to throw javelin, so we're pretty excited about that. And then we've got Addie Hill that will be throwing again this year. And then, pretty excited about a young batch of sophomore girl throwers that going to see them get out and get going. We've got Natalie Walker and Riley Arlaud and Lily Gloat, and really excited to see what they have to offer to our throwing program. On the javelin side from the girls, we've got a few that want to try it. I'm pretty excited about that. Going to try and get Briley Heath back on the runway and toss the jav a little bit this year. And then also got Briley Peterson and Danica DeShock that are, we take what time we can get because they're outstanding athletes and involved in other events. So we try and get some work in with them when we can.
Well, Coach Proefrock, congratulations on an outstanding 2025 track season. Now we're into 26. And coming off a record-setting season in 2025, what's the overall energy like around this team as we begin the season this Friday in 2026?
It's really high. Talking about the energy, we just kind of talked about that, earlier this year at the, preseason meeting and stuff like that, just with the kids, that, the expectations are high and anticipation. A lot of the kids are ready to go. They've been working really hard. We got a great group of seniors, great group of kids coming back, that are record setting. They're some of the best ever do it. In the history of Sturgis. So, anticipation for the season, the outlook, everything's really high. And so it's a great feeling to have at the track. It's a great feeling to have going into the season. And, it's contagious. So.
Very good. You mentioned there's about 130 kids out this year. Which I think is probably a record. What does this kind of participation say about the health of your program?
Well, I think it says an awful lot. I think it says a lot about the kids. It says a lot about the leadership, over the last few years, and some of the success that we've had. We talk about it, that, that hard work that, results in success and records. Success breeds success, and more people want to be a part of it. More people want to, are willing to work hard. The coaches, the consistency of that. There are a few new faces, few things that changed, but there are also old faces that are just coming around again. But it is what it is. They put in a lot of time, a lot of hard work, and it shows, and everybody else wants to do it. So there's 120, 130 kids out. So
last year you graduated 17 strong athletes. What are some of the new and young athletes stepping up to fill those leadership roles?
Well, losing seniors is always a big hit, but we're replacing them with a lot of really good seniors. We got a lot of young kids coming, all the way down to even 8th grade. But we have a lot of seniors coming and filling, and they were a lot of kids that were part of the record-setting stuff, from last year, right? Relays and things of that nature, and filling the top 10 lists and in a lot of the sprint races, and so that they're ready to step in. They were already filling the shoes last year. It's always hard to lose the kids. I mean, especially the quality kids that we had last year. And you can see what they're doing, on the tracks and at the universities that they're at. So it's not really possible to fill, but this is probably as close as you can do in 2 consecutive years.
This team has had a lot of success in relays. How important is that chemistry and trust when you're building really competitive relay teams?
It's kind of funny you asked that, because even yesterday, the 4x1 was the only relay that they were going to add, and it was kind of a late add, down in Rapid here this coming Friday. And immediately the kids saw that and were super excited, and they were already, there was a bunch of them arguing about, well, who's going to be on it? Who's going to be this? Who's going to be that? Because because there's that, there's more than 4 of them there that can run in it. And so that competition is obviously what has ultimately, breed the success that we've had. And we see it every day in practice, and the coaches do a good job, making it competitive. And I think that's kind of where we've been the last couple of years is that competition in practice every single day, with the ability, and the opportunity to step in and be a part of something really special. So I think that's kind of what's taken us to the next step.
On the distance side, moving through a different group, you have experienced runners like Quinn Bruch and Taylor Kalunga. How do they help set the tone for the younger athletes?
Well, they've seen it all. They've been around a long time. And they've run a lot of miles, both cross country, and a lot of success there, a lot of success on the track. And, the 2 individuals you're talking about are state champions, part of state champion relay team. Last year they were, what an insane state meet, being just a couple tenths from the all-time state top 10 list and only get in 3rd. It was pretty insane. But that's the experience they have. They've run in a lot of different races, a lot of different things. So leadership is second to none, and they're bringing it. It's a small group, but the group is always mighty. Coach Peterson has always brought all of it, his, over a couple decades here. Sturgis is second to none when it comes to, medals in the distance races, at the state meet. And so they're just part of that.
How important is internal accountability, athletes pushing athletes in a program like yours?
Well, it's all of the coaches, all the coaches that are part of this program. A lot of them are part of other programs, and they really help set that tone, and the weight room in the off season is a big part of it. And that has really showed up the last few years, I think, in everything. And so they get here and the expectation is no different. And so it's just, when you have 130 athletes, it's hard to get everywhere and hard to get everybody in and hard to get everybody in the weight room, in a timely manner and things of that nature. But that's what it is. It's everybody on the same page with the same expectation and know that, hey, the results speak for themselves. So.
The girls team is a little younger this year. We've got, so far, I visited with 3 seniors today. What kind of growth and potential are you seeing early on?
Well, we got some good kids, and they're spread around. They're in all areas. Now, we're not really deep in any one singular area. And so if you're coming to a relay or something like that, we might not see that early on. We always pick some up, there's some middle schoolers and stuff like that come and that help fill in the gaps. But we got some good kids. We got really solid kids. We got, really nice distance kids and seniors and, a couple sprinters and, obviously Danica DeShock over at the high jump and Kinley Stewart over in long and triple. They got some big shoes to fill, and we're losing people like Avery Marler, from a year ago. But we maybe almost have twice as many girls out this year as we did last year. I mean, not quite, but pretty close. So, we're all kind of waiting to see, even myself. They're showing some things at practice, but they're a really fun group. It's a great young group. Middle school programs did a great job bringing them along, and there's a bunch of them. And so we're all kind of waiting to see what we got.
Blake, what is the keys to making sure this team peaks at the right time when it matters most at the end of the season?
Well, we changed some things up, 3 years ago, maybe 4. But it's just kind of been a transformation process, kind of the way we're approaching things. Less is more approach, staying healthy, understand, like that's exactly what we want to do. We're going to get at the pinnacle at the right time. And so sometimes, especially when you have high expectations, you got all these seniors and things like that, they have this work ethic now that has built where they sometimes want to do more than maybe we even want them to do. So it's just finding that right balance, all those things, make sure they stay healthy, doing everything the right way to get to the end of the season.
Good. When it's all said and done, what would make the season the biggest success in your eyes?
Well, it's all incremental, like getting better every single practice, every single meet, and it's easy to see that. We got distances, we got times and stuff like that. But, ultimately we're always kind of knocking on the door. We've had really good seasons the last couple of years. We've competed really well at conference, won conference, a few years in a row, 3 years in a row with the boys, but really maybe getting on the podium at state, that's where we're really, really close. I think we might have the depth that, this year to do it, with some individuals, and then enough depth to fill in maybe when we move those relays along into, the next days. So that's what everybody's shooting for. Everybody, wants to do that. I mean, they all want to get better every day. That's the easy answer. But ultimately that's what they're all shooting for. And we are too. We want it for them, because these kids that are seniors, I mean, all of them, but these kids that are seniors, they've put in a lot of effort, and a lot of hard work, and it would just be really nice to see kind of pay off with that.
Looking back, we talked about being a record-breaking season last year. I'm looking at the 400 relay and the 800 relay, and 4 of the times in the 400 relay were set last year by people that you have all coming back. And that's pretty exciting. The 800 relay, same thing. Kids that are still here, they were the top 3 now all time in the record book for Sturgis Brown. What's your thoughts on those relay teams?
Well, it's kind of one of those things I don't know. I don't know. You're kind of putting a lot of pressure on us when you say all that stuff. But no, I mean, the kids are putting enough pressure on themselves. They know what's coming back. Everybody knows what's coming back. There's high expectations. We just don't want to go too overboard and get, too big ahead or anything like that. But they, of course, are going to try to run faster every single day and every single meet. And, it's one of those things where, like you said, everybody knows, everybody knows that we're the fastest that we've ever been. And there's just, there's more kids kind of chomping at the bit right behind them. So that's going to keep pushing them. So ultimately, hopefully maybe they knock down their own records, I guess. So, but it's fun. It's really fun. It's really fun to have the competition that we have, across the board, and I don't know. I think, we got some distance kids too. We'll see, what comes around with that. We got to continue to run those 4x8 strong. We definitely got the sprinters, and we got definitely a couple 800 runners coming back that if we put them together, we're going to run a strong medley too. And I know that there's kids talking about that as well. So we're really looking forward to the season.
Well, good luck on a fantastic season. We're looking forward to seeing the runners and, of course, the field people also, and look forward to seeing them compete on Friday.
Thank you. Appreciate it.